Your knee is already service-connected. Years later, your back starts hurting. Maybe your walking has changed, and someone tells you that must be secondary. Hold on. That may be a question worth reviewing, but it is not automatically an answer. A later condition is not automatically connected just because it appeared after an established service-connected condition. The timeline matters, the records matter, and the medical relationship has to be considered carefully.
Welcome to the Veteran Benefits Reset Podcast, where we help veterans and their families better understand the VA disability benefits process, one step at a time. I'm your host, Cameron Burrell, a U.S. Army veteran and founder of VetBiz Media. Today, we're slowing down that exact question. How do you review a possible secondary service connection without jumping ahead of the evidence? We're going to build a simple evidence map, not a wall of paperwork, not a search for one magic phrase. One clear page that helps you separate what is confirmed, what is unclear, and what you need to ask next. This is an independent educational episode. It is not legal advice, medical advice, individualized claims advice, or a prediction about any particular outcome. Every veteran's service, medical history, records, and circumstances are different. Verify current information through official VA resources and consider speaking with the VA-accredited VSO, claims agent, or attorney when your questions become specific.
So let's make the basic distinction clear. Direct service connection generally asks whether a current disability is connected to an injury, disease, event, or exposure during military service. In everyday language, the question is, did something happen during service, and is there a current condition connected to that service experience?
Secondary service connection starts from a different place. It considers whether a current condition is connected to another condition that is already service-connected. That possible relationship may involve one condition causing another, or one condition worsening another. The established service-connected condition is part of the foundation. The later condition is the issue being reviewed, and between those 2 points, there has to be a relationship that the evidence can actually address. Here is the sentence I want you to remember. A timeline is a map, not a medical conclusion. If your shoulder pain began after years of compensating for a hand condition, that sequence may be important. But sequence alone does not explain why the shoulder condition developed. There could be another injury, work demands, age-related changes, or several contributing factors. The timeline helps someone follow the story. It does not, by itself, settle the relationship.
You might be thinking, if my condition got worse after the service-connected condition, isn't that enough? Not necessarily. That tells you what happened in sequence. It does not by itself explain why it happened. This is where 2 terms matter, causation and aggravation.
Causation means, in general terms, that one condition caused another condition. Aggravation is different. It generally refers to a service-connected condition worsening another condition beyond its natural progression. Those words can sound similar in ordinary conversation, but they are not interchangeable. Causing a condition and making an existing condition worse are different questions. A medical record may need to address the diagnosis, the history, possible contributing factors, and whether the issue involves causation or aggravation. An accredited representative can help you identify the questions and understand the process. A medical professional may need to address the medical relationship. Those are different jobs. Your representative should not be expected to invent a medical conclusion, and a general internet article cannot evaluate your individual history. Now, take out a sheet of paper, open a note on your phone, or use whatever system works for you. Draw 4 boxes. You are not trying to prove a conclusion in these boxes. You are trying to make the facts easier to review. Veteran to veteran, that difference matters. In the first box, write the existing service-connected condition. Use the wording you can verify in a VA decision or other official record. Not just the nickname you use at home, not just the body part that hurts. What does the decision actually recognize? If you do not know, write verify. Do not guess. An accurate question is more useful than a confident label that turns out to be wrong.
In the second box, write the later condition or symptoms. Keep those two things separate. Pain, numbness, fatigue, sleep difficulty, limited movement, or trouble concentrating describe experiences. A diagnosis is a clinical determination documented by a qualified provider. You may have symptoms without a confirmed diagnosis. If that is where you are, write exactly that. Symptoms reported, diagnosis not yet verified. That is not a weak statement. It is an honest one.
In the third box, build the timeline with milestones. When was the original condition diagnosed or recognized? When did the later symptoms begin? When did you first report them to a provider? When was the later condition diagnosed, if it was diagnosed? Were there injuries, treatment changes, work changes, or other events in between? Exact dates are helpful, but approximate dates are still useful if you label them as approximate.
Do not spend an hour trying to make the timeline persuasive. Spend that hour making it understandable. A timeline that includes an inconvenient event is still more useful than a timeline that leaves it out. If there was another injury, a change in employment, or a long gap in treatment, record it. Facts over frustration. You are not weakening the map by making it complete.
The fourth box is functional impact. What changed in daily life, work, movement, sleep, concentration, or ordinary activities? Be specific without exaggerating. Instead of writing, everything is worse, you might write, I stopped carrying heavy equipment at work, or I began using a handrail on the stairs, if those statements are accurate. Functional impact does not automatically prove a secondary relationship, but it helps describe what the conditions have meant in real life. Now look underneath those four boxes and make 3 short lists. What is confirmed? What is unclear? What should I ask? Confirmed might include a VA decision recognizing one condition, a treatment note documenting a diagnosis, or an employment record showing a change in duties. Unclear might include whether a provider addressed the relationship or whether an odor record exists. Questions might include, what record should I request? And does the evidence discuss causation, aggravation, or neither? Those are useful questions. They move the conversation forward. There are a few traps this process can help you avoid. The first is assuming that because one condition came after another, the earlier condition caused it. Remember the map. The timeline shows sequence. It does not automatically explain the medical relationship. The second trap is confusing symptoms with diagnoses. A person can honestly report pain before receiving a diagnosis. Those reports may be important, but they are not the same thing as a clinical determination. The third trap is treating general online language as if it were an opinion about your history. Online information can help you learn vocabulary. It usually cannot evaluate your examinations, treatment history, other possible causes, or the complete record. Another trap is overlooking records that do not sound like traditional claims evidence. Physical therapy notes, medication changes, leave records, job duty changes, and observations from people who see your daily limitations may help explain the history and functional impact. They do not replace a diagnosis or a medical opinion when one is needed, but they may show what happened between appointments. And if care was delayed, record that honestly too. People delay treatment for many real-world reasons.
Let's make this concrete with a fictional example. Imagine Jordan sitting at a kitchen table with one page in front of them. In the first box is an ankle condition already recognized as service-connected. 3 lines below it are hip pain, a later hip diagnosis, and one complicating fact. Jordan also had a fall several years later. At work, Jordan moved from a physically demanding assignment to lighter duties. Jordan's first instinct is understandable. The ankle caused the hip problem. But that sentence may outrun the records. What does Jordan actually know?
The ankle condition is service-connected. The hip symptoms began at an approximate time. A hip diagnosis came later. There was a separate fall. Work duties changed. The history of walking and movement still needs to be verified. That is already enough to create a useful evidence map without pretending the map has answered the final question.
Jordan writes the ankle condition exactly as it appears in the verified VA decision. In the next box, Jordan separates earlier hip pain from the later hip diagnosis. In the timeline, Jordan records the ankle history, the approximate beginning of hip symptoms, the date of the hip evaluation, the fall, and the change in job duties. In the last box, Jordan describes difficulty standing, walking, lifting, or completing work tasks, using only examples that are accurate.
Then Jordan writes the unanswered questions. Does a medical record discuss whether the ankle condition caused the hip condition? Does it discuss aggravation? How should the separate fall be considered? Are there treatment records describing changes in gait or movement? Do the work records match the limitations Jordan remembers? What should Jordan bring to an accredited VSO, claims agent, or attorney?
Notice what Jordan is not doing. Jordan is not copying a sentence from a website and treating it like a medical opinion. Jordan is not ignoring the fall because it complicates the story. Jordan is not treating the desired condition as if it has already been established. Jordan is organizing a complete record so an appropriate professional can review the actual questions. That is the responsible difference between preparing to ask and pretending to already know the answer.
A good evidence map is not a claim by itself. It is a tool for seeing the relationship between records, symptoms, diagnoses, timing, and function. It can show where your information is strong, where it is incomplete, and where professional review may be appropriate. Keep copies of the documents you rely on. Note the source and date. Label memories as recollections. Use accurate condition names. If you do not know something, write that down. Organize, verify, execute. Before you take action, verify the current process through official VA resources. Forms, evidence standards, review options, and filing instructions can depend on the issue and may change over time. An accredited representative can help explain the available paths and identify questions for your circumstances. Be cautious with anyone promising a guaranteed rating, guaranteed approval, or guaranteed effective date. No responsible person can promise an outcome from a short description or a general checklist.
Before you close this episode, complete one small assignment. Grab a piece of paper or open a note. Write 4 headings: existing service-connected condition, later condition or symptoms, timeline, and functional impact. Underneath, add 3 more: confirmed, unclear, and questions for an accredited representative. Do not spend the first hour trying to prove your conclusion. Spend it making your records understandable. If the page reveals missing information, that is not failure. It is useful information about what to verify next.
Let's bring the conversation together. Direct service connection generally looks at the relationship between a current condition and military service. Secondary service connection considers a relationship between a current condition and an already service-connected condition. Causation and aggravation are different questions. A timeline is a map, not a medical conclusion. Symptoms and diagnoses should be recorded separately. Functional impact adds context, but it does not replace medical evidence. And the goal is not a magic phrase. The goal is a clear, honest record and a responsible next question. Thanks for listening to the Veteran Benefits Reset podcast. I hope today's episode gave you a clearer way to think about secondary service connection and one practical step you can take toward getting organized. Remember, this podcast is an independent educational resource. It is not legal or medical advice, and it does not replace guidance from a VA-accredited veteran service organization, claims agent, or attorney. Every veteran's service, medical history, and claim are unique, so verify current information through official VA resources and work with accredited professionals when appropriate. If you found this episode helpful, follow the podcast, leave a review, and share it with another veteran, family member, or caregiver who could benefit. Download the free 7-step Veteran Benefits Reset Guide and begin organizing your military, medical, employment, and VA records at vetbizmedia.com/veteran7. Thank you for listening to the Veteran Benefits Reset podcast. Your service did not expire. Your story is still worth reviewing. Stay organized, stay informed, and take the next responsible step.